Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If it does not say live in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, unfortunately you are watching the recap. Go ahead, click back on the main channel, refresh the page, and get yourself on the nightly live stream, because we indeed would love to have you over there with us. Now, we got some things to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Let me hit you guys with a little monetization, if YouTube will let me. Let's see. Yes, we do have a couple things to talk about, though. Some bad news, a little bit of good news. I think a positive thing was AMC was up like 9% today. What happened? What happened today, guys? Did people just start buying? The orders finally went through. Throw a little tin in there. How are we doing? Me too. Ugans. Chris Winlambo. Yo. Nico, hey, what's up? I'm really sick. Haven't done any trading. I feel like everyone's sick, and nobody has been doing any trading because of it. I have not done too much, but I did make one trade today, and that was a QQQ put. So we'll see how that plays out. But I've been sick too. Today's definitely the best I've felt in a while. I don't know if I had COVID. I don't know what happened, but it's just not fun. It's not fun. A lot of people have it too. A lot of people have it. Can't stop, won't stop. That's so catchy. That's such a catchy song. Can't stop, won't stop. Like a girl song too. See what happens. Why no options for August, but some for September and on? It looks like we're just not gonna see one of those like quad witching days. At least that's what it looks like to me. Like one of those big expirations, like the ones that have been on the option chain for a long time are the June 17th, July 15th, and then these ones, the September, December, January, and January 2024. These are the bigger expirations. The other ones kind of just pop up once you get, I don't know the exact like science behind it. Once you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks out. So like every 2 months you pop up with these weekly options. But just looks like we're not going to see a large option expiration in August. At least that's what it looks like to me. Did Redbox squeeze today? Redbox was down, weren't they? Oh no, whoa. Okay. I mean, this doesn't look like it would be like over, right? You haven't seen a peak out in volume besides May 2nd, and you're back on a, I mean, quite honestly, a beautiful uptrend. So I wouldn't say, you know, it peaked, or maybe it did start to squeeze, but it doesn't look like it's over if I were to make a prediction on that. I swear I looked at Redbox earlier and it wasn't doing that well, but I guess so. Yeah, I guess I had a pretty solid day overall. Pretty decent uptrend. Yeah. 4%. Yeah. It does look good though. Broke clean out the 200-day moving average as well. That's one that I might have to make a trade on. I have not been following Redbox as closely because of it's already essentially like merging with another stock, and that's scary, dangerous territory to be in, but it does look good. Hey now, creamy goodness, what's going on, brother? Ugans, thanks, Tyler. I'm very new to options. Yeah, options are great. Um, um, but you just want to be careful with them. At the end of the day, like there's definitely certain degrees of like risk, right, in the markets. Options are more risky than penny stocks, especially when you start off and you don't really know what you're doing. 840% cost to borrow, 180% short interest, only 1.95 million shares available to be traded. The remaining of the float is locked by executives and secured. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, technically speaking, just on technicals as well, it's pretty damn clean. It's pretty clean. You broke straight above the resistance at the 200-day moving average. That's been resistance the last 4 trading days. Broke clean out of that today with just an overall solid uptrend. But we'll see once it got to these levels last time, it pretty much got rejected around this, right? This day back here, May 2nd, the low was 640, kind of like we seen today intraday. Like these candles look almost identical right here and right here. You hit a high of $11 and you ended up closing back at $8.50. So if we can really on Redbox close above $8.50 tomorrow, which it looks like it will. I mean, you're substantially above that. Then that looks better than not. But this is, this is the highest close on Redbox that you have seen, for a very long time. We have not closed above 853 since May 2nd, and that was the peak. So tomorrow is probably going to be a pretty good day for them, I would imagine. What should I have for dinner, man? I'm always going to tell you probably apple pecan salad from Wendy's, or you can go get yourself fancy, start up the grill, get yourself some steaks. I know it's like, if you're in Cali, it's like 7 p.m., so it's not too bad. But if you're on the East Coast like I am, it's 10 p.m. It's never a bad time for some steaks on the grill. That's what I'll tell you. The meat prices are high, though. You better be prepared. You better pull out that wallet. They're going to get you, Mr. D. Lee. They're going to get you. Yeah, I think Evergreens does deserve a hug. Jennifer, yeah. That's very loving. I definitely feel the love already. I'm going to do a YOLO on SPY puts. Although can't help it. June 30th, 325 strike, 300 contracts. Be careful on that. With options that are super far out the money, like that far out the money, yeah, they're cheap for a reason. So essentially, if you only have like 23 days left, you're only going to have like 15 trading days roughly. You need to see a large move down. You need to see like a 3, 4, 5% move down in the S&P here in like the next four trading days, or you're going to lose money, basically all of your money if you hold the expiration. You just really wanted to play the volatility like quickly if you do a trade like that. But I like where your head's at. 300 contracts can put in some work if you hit it. Alex, yes, I'm late, but I'm here. We love you, Alex. A beautiful mod, beautiful soul. Low volume across the board in the market. Yeah, very, very low volume day. Very low. Very low. Do you think the final mission is Top Gun Maverick mimic our mission as apes in our AMC investment? No, I think like the last things like the MOAS, but I think this community lives on much longer than just AMC or anything else, right? I think it's much bigger than that, and I think we're winning overall, believe it or not. Like we've been bankrupting hedge funds. Like we've made multiple hedge funds lose massive amounts of money. So I would say we're winning in that realm, and I don't really think anything Oh, maybe you're talking about the movie there actually. Maybe I'm just retarded. I've not seen the movie, if that's what you're talking about. So, yeah, I definitely didn't relate to that, if that's what you're talking about. Big Blue CNC, baby. How are we doing? How are we doing? You are not allowed to buy puts at 325 SPY. Yeah, that would be pretty intense, huh? 325. Dude, you would hit the biggest bag of your life if you hit that trade. But like the odds of that happening are like ultra low. That would be wild. Dude, that would honestly be wild. Like you could retire if you hit that trade. You just like that'd be $1 million plus winning trade. I guarantee it. Don't let me talk you into it though. I think it's a bad idea. Put that on record. I talk about trades and some people just go out and go crazy on them. And then I'm like, man, you know I'm always early, right? You know, then I gotta say it's not financial advice because, you know, people be getting lawyers and shit. Never mind, we're going to 178 tomorrow. Yeah. That'd be trippy. No, how far could we drop? What's 20%? You could drop 20%. That's a wild concept if like to remain trading for a day. Yeah, the SPY in theory could fall to like 330 any day and the markets would still trade. The SPY could fall $85 before they would shut down the markets for the day. That'd be like Black Wednesday. Have Black Monday. Technically have Black Tuesday. And we're going to have Black Wednesday. Man. Some people were talking about Eric. I don't know how to say that. Just call it Eric. I don't know what's going on with it, though. Wasn't it, like, halted or some weird shit? Was it halted? Is that what happened? Or it's just very thinly traded? No, that had to have been halted, dude. What's the max pain? That's a good question. You guys want to know something funny too? Dude, I'm trying to get my Ortex back. Because 3 halts today. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought it was. But my card expired, my bank card. I've had it for like 4 or 5 years, however long it is, and it expired. So I still have the same numbers, but I just had to get a new one. Well, Ortex tried to because this just happened June 1st, and I'm waiting on another one, but Ortex tried to bill me because this is around the same time last year I got Ortex, and they do it once a year. It's like $600. And no, dude, it says that that it got declined too many times. No, she said I can't afford Ortex. Don't lie. Oh my gosh. No, look, it says we were unable to charge the credit card you provided. It says $588 payment could not be charged. And I emailed them, and it says I gotta try again in like 48 hours. I'm like, dude, like, this is crazy. I need Ortex. I need it. That ain't even an option. Maybe if I was a baller like you, Evergreens. No, Ortex don't want my money. And then there's like a $250 one, but you don't get like the other stuff because I don't use that many credit cards. So I'm like, man, maybe I could just use another one, but I don't have that many credit cards. And the ones I do have is like a Best Buy credit card with like $3,000 on it that I've never used once. Or a JCPenney's one. Man, I was like 17, walked into JCPenney's. I'm like, I'd like to build some credit. I think I had to get a suit for a wedding. And I signed up for the credit card, paid for my stuff on the credit card, paid off the credit card, and has never used it since. It's terrible. He said I sold out of Redbox way too early. Yeah, what's the premiums look like? But the max paying is $12.50 per share for AMC. It looks like June 10th. June 17th, the max paying is $18? Oh my gosh. Can we please? Can we create a new Ortex account? Would that work? Oh, that's honestly like next level genius shit. I didn't even think I could. Obviously, I'm probably not going to right now, but no account. Yeah, I could probably sign up, dude. Evergreens. He said, man, you're too broke for Ortex. Admit it. Right? Yeah. I think. I'll just have to use a different email. Man, thank you for that. We're going to get that. We're going to get that right. Dark humor. There you go. I didn't even think about that. Why didn't I think about that? That's ridiculous. Brothers United. You excited? You excited for this Redbox, huh? You excited? You're a little happier today. Anyone notice that Evergreens is like happier today? He's like, man, we're about to make some money. I'm excited too about it. I don't even have a trade, but I want to make one tomorrow. I'm kind of, it does look good, but let's look at the options. Evergreens is like, I made $250,000, bro. Of course I'm happy. So I paid for my Bloomberg terminal for like a year up front. He said, nah, man, you can't say I'm happy. Nah, I gotta be mad. It's all right. It's all right. June 17th. What options you guys have on this? It's not bad. I mean, $10 options for $60. It's not terrible. Well, really, you're gonna get in for like 70, but 68, something like that. Yeah, that's not terrible, honestly. Because if you think about it, last time Redbox was at 850, it went to 11 in the same day. I'm in the money at Redbox right now, swinging my calls straight, chilling. I like it. I like it. What ones though? What expirations, dude? Seems like Redbox could go pretty high due to its circumstances. Oh, we're going long on it, huh? He said $20 strikes. Why does it not let me scroll? Why is it playing me like that? Is that all the... There's only the 650s? That don't even make sense. Why is it tripping out? Sevens got for cheap, now they're expensive. $1.65. That's not that expensive. It would be though if you bought them and the stock went down. You get clapped. Yeah, June 17th doesn't look bad though. If you want to get real, I mean, I want to say kind of ballsy with it, but you could get a pretty decent return for sure on the $15 calls. If it went even to like 11 tomorrow, that IV would jack up. You might get 200-300% intraday on those. That looks pretty good. $25, $15 calls. Give the stock a 100% day and you're going to be in the money. Kind of like it. I kind of like it. What are futures doing now? That's not correct. Down a little bit. Treasuries are up. Yeah, treasuries actually chilled out a little bit today, so that definitely helped the markets, but it's expensive compared to $35 a contract at buy-in. Yeah, definitely expensive. Then what? You're up like 400%. Been borrowing like crazy lately, looking like $8 one. I mean on Redbox, it's, man, like this is much different though. Like can we point that out on Redbox? Redbox back here did go up 42.64% in a single day, but it was off of 160 million for volume. Redbox went up today 27.61% off of 25 million shares. So if you were to see that same level of volume tomorrow, the stock's probably going up 100%. That's kind of what is, you know, very exciting at the same time. It's not like you're seeing the volume ramping up like kind of you even seen back here. You have that low volume. So what you want to see is low volume causing big moves. So once bigger volume comes in, you'll see, in theory, bigger moves. That ramp up effect, right? Kind of like you seen back here. It's kind of weird how it played out though. The volume like went up, trended down, and then went straight up. But I mean, you see a little bit more volume today than yesterday, about 7 million shares, but that's what you want to see for a big move. I don't know. I'm not in it though right now, but I definitely want to make a trade on it just because, you know, I'm not going to bet against the retail investor, and it does look like a beautiful setup. And I've seen, even though I don't have Ortex right now, okay, I've seen the Redbox Ortex data multiple times, and it always looks really good. And it's been on the threshold securities list for like ever too, hasn't it? It's been on there for like weeks. 12x itself today. Yeah. And you could see what it can trade. Like if it's only got 2 million shares, it traded 80x of itself this day, May 2nd. But apes and shorts are there, a little squeeze, but you must enjoy the roller coaster. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna have like super high expectations. You know, probably put $200 to $500 into a swing trade, roughly about that, and I'll probably take profits by the end of the day, make some contracts free, and let it ride out. How high do you think this thing could go, Evergreens? Like where's like the top? I wouldn't chase it. It's already at nearly $9 a share. No, I wouldn't just blindly put the money in and just hold it. Like if you didn't have a day trade, then I wouldn't do it. You know, just as an intraday thing. I have extremely high expectations. Yeah, that's kind of the game with these kind of trades. You know? But it's definitely a lot more risky now for people that aren't in the trade already. He said hundreds. I mean, the way it looks, there's a lot of short interest. And I would be very surprised, like, if even, I mean, what was happening May 2nd in the market? Yeah, May 2nd was actually these couple days in the markets were actually very green in the overall market. May 2nd, we were up 0.60% on the SPY. The next day, up 0.46%. And then the day after that, we were up 3%. So that could have cushioned some of the potential pain hedge funds would have seen during, during Redbox and this rally that we've seen in here, because you got to imagine there's a lot of pressure on shorts right now, no matter what stock it is, no matter if it's AMC, no matter if it's Redbox or any other stock. Like the stock market is down, the bond market is down, pretty much everything is down. And if you had a short position like Redbox that you're just holding on to for dear life because you probably have a massive loss at this point, it used to trade in the $2-3 range. And that's probably where a lot of short positions were made on it. So, if the stock breaks out past, call it 10, 15, I would be very surprised if shorts did not have to try to cover, like, quickly. And at that point, can they? Like, can they even cover? Because there's 2 million shares outstanding. That's where you could get all those damn synthetics or the IOUs pretty much. FOMO in is fine. Let's go. Buckle up. I mean, what's that one stock, guys, that I had traded it not too long ago. Something Inspirato? Is it this one? Inspirato Incorporated? Yeah, this one. This actually happened. This stock started trading at like $10, went all the way up to 108 in a single day. Kind of the same thing. Very, very low float. And it did it off of 12.6 million shares that traded hands. The stock went up 650% in a single day. It can happen. That's the craziest part. Like, it can really happen like that. Wow, 27.22. It's literally going to $100 that day. Probably. I mean, with a float that small, and that's basically to answer your question, Pro NFL. I can't understand why they aren't covering over 500% short interest. Is insane. It is insane. And when the float is so small, theoretically, it's like hard to get your hands on shares to cover, especially when there's a lot of people trying to buy this stock and to make the stock go up. That's exactly what happened with Volkswagen, right? Porsche had acquired like 75% of the shares outstanding, and then they owned like 20% of the rest of the float in direct options. So essentially there was like 5% of the float left, and the short interest at the time wasn't that high, like 20 some percent, but Porsche had acquired so many shares, the short interest instantly went to like hundreds, because of the ratio of, call it 100 million shares sold short. Well, now there's only 5 million shares out of the whole float. Your short interest of free float went from, call it 20% to just massive levels. What would that be? 200% short interest if the float decreased 20 times? So something like that. Yeah. So it can be very hard to get out of those positions, and it like at one point, especially in this market environment, like not a lot of people are, I think, going to want to take on a short squeeze kind of trade, especially with a small float. Like, you're probably not going to see as many shorts trying to jump in just because of the nature of it and the market environment. Like, you don't have money to lose if you're a hedge fund in 2022. This sounds a lot like that, doesn't it? It does, yeah. Yeah, and that's where you can get over 100% short interest, in theory, is stuff like that. because all short interest is of the free float. So if there was a 500 million shares like there is of AMC outstanding, a little bit more than that, and hedge funds have shorted 100 million shares, they shorted 20% of the float. Well, if another company came in and bought half the float and locked up 250 million shares, well, now the short interest of free float is 40%, because now the float is slashed in half, 50%. So the short interest would go up 100%. Kind of confusing to think about, but yeah, the short interest of free float can fluctuate in that way as well, not always just shorts covering. So that's why, in theory, like with AMC, like people think the short interest is much higher, because if we are all just buying and holding our shares, then we are locking up the free float, even if not everybody is, even if call it 10% of the apes are buying and holding, no matter, this last year we have acquired more and more of the float, and essentially the short interest would be affected by that. So those are always trades that are very hard for hedge funds to manage. They're a little bit different than a typical like short squeeze where there's a lot of shares available. But I hope the thing don't gap up too hard tomorrow. Like, man, don't gap up. Just open up, like chill, like it kind of did today. Make the trade. That's the best. That's the best time to make a trade, without the gap up, and it just opens up, chill. Is there any way to see how much liquidity an individual hedge fund has left? Not necessarily. Sometimes they'll come out and publish their own reports, or if you are an investor in the firm, they usually send out like letters of how they're doing, either monthly or at least quarterly. But not. It's kind of hard to get access on some of that information. Sometimes people go public with it, not always. If they're bigger firms, then usually like Tiger Global is down 52% in 2022. Like, and that's a big hedge fund. And that's a really big hedge fund on like liquidity, assets under management. If that's how you're going to measure how big a hedge fund is or whatnot. It's a pretty big hedge fund, down 52%. You got to imagine some of the other guys are not doing so hot. Not at all. So it's very dangerous when you're playing around shorting stocks like this, and you're just not in the best financial shape as a hedge fund. It's bad news. It's definitely bad news for them. We're beyond naked shorts. We're in thong territory. Yeah, we're in thong territory. Like, get the man thong. Man, my grandpa actually used to wear a man thong. And when I was a kid and would spend the night at my grandma's, and if I didn't have underwear, she'd be like, you want to wear some of these so at least you have some underwear on? It'd be like man thongs. I'm like, no, Grandma, I'm okay. I'll be okay. I got basketball shorts. We're good. I don't want to wear the man thong. But yeah, we're like man thong territory. Said pause. Does anyone want to sell me some of your AMC shares? I will for like, man, I'll be cheap. I'll sell them to you for like, can we do like $50? So then I'm going to go back and buy some more. But I'll flip them to you for 50. Pause. Yes, sir. Wait, hold up. Puts on the story. Yeah, short the story. No, I was messed up. And then he ended up like leaving my grandma after like 30 years of marriage. Like left state. Pretty wild. Like the man thongs really got to him. That motherfucker dipped out. He done left. And I got all serious on you guys. Serious question. Can they just continue to drive the Ortex numbers up and indefinitely? It pretty much. yeah, like there's usually always going to be like even when it says 100% utilization, like it's said that for months now, but the short interest has continued to climb. I think it first started saying that when the short interest was like 19.5%. It said 100% utilization, and now it's at 23.5% short interest, still at 100% utilization. There's always pretty much going to be shares that can be shorted out there, and that's why you have like IOUs and stuff like that. Smash the like button before it gets turned off. Yeah, I like that one. Evergreens, yeah, it's terrible. What's your trading background, man? Still new? I mean, don't necessarily have like a trading background. Like I didn't work at like a prop firm or trading firm or anything like that. But I just got into the markets when kind of just out of nowhere. Always wanted to make a lot of money, always wanted to control my own destiny, and what's a better place to do that than Wall Street? And basically stumbled upon it like that. Met some cool people, and just I guess cliche, but fell in love with the process, fell in love with everything about it, and trying to learn more every single day. And I mean, learned options. I would say I'm very well rounded, very well rounded with options, different strategies, all that. Beginner stuff, complex stuff, just everything. But it takes a long time. Like you got to be dedicated to it. Like, and if you are dedicated to it, you will do well. But that's pretty much it. Trading's not really something, it's not something you're going to learn overnight. Most people don't pick it up overnight because a lot of people want to look at some statistic to figure everything out. And you can like pay attention to the Greeks and all that. That'll give you a little bit of an indication. But to really be good at options, you want to be able to look at an option and be able to value it without having to look at, other data, right? Like factoring in time premium, like to look at an option to say, hey, this June 17th $15 call on Redbox, how fast is this going to depreciate? How much does the stock have to move up in how little amount of time to actually make money on this? Like, for an example, that $15 call I just said, you're buying it for $25. It expires by next Friday. So that means literally in the next 2-3 trading days, you need to see a 30% plus move for these options to make money. If they don't, they're going to start to deteriorate very, very fast next week. Stuff like that, right? And that takes time to learn. So trading, investing, very different. If you want to trade, just takes time and learn. I would say the biggest thing, learn how to value options. If you're new, don't think like learn how time premium factors into options, and different securities are going to be different. Redbox can move probably 100% in a day by the time this thing's said and done. So those options, you can value them a little bit differently, but compared to like a Coca-Cola. And that's probably the biggest thing. Trading is definitely you got to put your dedication in, and you got to somewhat like it. I feel like people that don't like to trade, they're like, you're not gonna do well. So don't try it. But if you genuinely like to do it and you don't expect to get rich overnight, then go for it. But yeah, no, like you don't really need. I don't trust people. I don't trust people that came from like prop trading firms and shit. I'm like, man, show me what you've been doing. Cause like even a lot of people on like CNBC, like they don't know what the hell they're talking about either. And that's the honest truth. Like people are like so clueless when it comes to trading most of the time. Even professionals. I buy contracts cheap, other people FOMO and buy for expensive. Yeah, yeah. If you buy cheap options like on something like Redbox, you just have to either be very convicted and have just a strong reasoning why you're doing that, because obviously you don't want to just walk around buying cheap options, or you know, if you're just somewhat convinced, like a lot of people usually are, myself included, then you go into it with like, hey, I'm willing to lose 10% or something, and really cap your loss, because you know, I've done that, and I got burned pretty bad on when the Russia stuff happened, the inverse Russia ETF, when that thing dropped like 80%, and the Russian stocks started to come back, and they halted the whole ETF, and I lost like $500 in that trade. I'm like, damn, stuff like that. But I should have took the profits because I was actually positive. But like stuff like that, you're gonna make mistakes like that, especially if it's out of your control. But stick with it, and you'll do good. Do you sell your June 17th calls? No, I still have all my AMC calls. All of them. Redbox is a one-day squeeze play. When it rockets, you'll know it'll be the end of that day. Possibly, yeah. I think you could see, yeah, like a just depending, right? Like if we've seen like a 40 to 60% positive day, like I think you definitely have at least 100 to 200% one single day in there, and then that's probably the end. You're probably right on that. Like if the thing were to go to like 26 and then it has like 100% day and goes like to 50, that's the end of it. That's definitely the end of it. Or if it goes to 15 to 30 or something, you know, does a big jump like that, a big dollar denominated jump, probably, you know, probably the end. But at that point, I mean, you'd already make so much money on it. Tesla and Apple are making their own chips now. You think that AMD, NVIDIA, and the markets are going to lose out on a substantial amount of market share because of it? Honestly, I think there's a lot of room to go around, and I think a lot of companies are kind of underestimating how hard it's going to be to actually do that. It's not very easy to manufacture chips, especially in 2022, and actually make them like high quality. If any companies could do it, it'd probably be Apple and Tesla, but I don't think they would take away that much potential like market share. And it might actually be an eye opener for them. They might actually say, well, it's more cost effective to just partner. Told me that even with a margin account, if you're not using the margin, they can lend them out. If you are, they can. Yeah, that makes sense. It's much more in play because of the market we have now, but when if it was booming, yeah, definitely. Like, you know, that's something that not enough creators talk about. I don't know if it's because they don't know about like how like the overall markets work as far as like margin calls, but I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, so not a lot of people actually know, like, yeah, right now is much more bullish or like primed to see margin calls just across the board when stocks go against hedge funds, whether it's a short position or whatnot, rather than a year ago, because just where the markets are right now, it's much different and much lower liquidity. Like, people are calling this like abysmal liquidity, just super low, and you can see that like even in the moves we're seeing in the markets, like low volume big moves. That's kind of what you've been seeing over the last couple trading days. But we've had higher volume during these big like intraday swings. That's been high volume. But what's up with Redbox? Every time somebody says something about Redbox, I get a little bit more bullish. You know that? You know that, Evergreens? Do you think it's going to do that tomorrow, Evergreens? But yeah, Redbox basically just really high short interest. Beautiful technical setup. Really low float. Basically everything you would want in a squeeze trade. Retail attention. And looks like tomorrow could be a pretty big day. I do want to make a position on it. For probably just an intraday swing. Make some contracts free. Ride them out. What's your expiration, Evergreens? Is it the July or the June? From 10 to 180. Yeah, that was wild. DWAC. I bought in at like 40, and I made like 10 shares free. Like I made like $1,000 on that trade. Then I ended up selling it out. Like, good timing. But that was just on shares, like a very low amount too. I didn't even buy the options, which would have made a lot more. But talk about how exactly margin calls work with a hedge fund. Basically the same way with like your individual portfolios, but a lot of individual investors don't really like have a lot of short positions, right? So what hedge funds do, like why a hedge fund is called a hedge fund, is they try to strive for, call it like a 10% return every year. They don't strive for like 100% years, most hedge funds. Why? Because, you know, some years the S&P might be up 12%, some years the S&P might be down 5%. If that happens, a hedge fund still beat the markets, technically, right? So they just strive for a consistent return every year, and they're obviously pretty bad at doing that over the last, call it 4 or 5 years in particular. But what they do is hedge funds have a lot of short positions as well, especially when the markets are going down, because they still want to make money. And when they get ultra greedy like they are right now, and basically all of their gains are in these short positions, if they have even gains, if it's even a net gain on their portfolio, they're basically losing money on their long positions. If they're a 60-40, 60% stock, 40% bond split, in that case, bonds are down 20% as well, so their portfolio is also getting destroyed on the bond segment of their portfolio. Stocks are obviously in the toilets. If you are winning on your short positions, like a lot of these shorts are really concentrated right now. Like your Apples, your Amazons, like Teslas, Nvidias, like they don't have high short interest. They have like 2% short interest, 1% short interest, less than that for like your Apples, Microsofts, stocks like that. So all of the short interest, all of these hedges really are in like your SoFis, DraftKings, Affirms, Squares, and Square's not even like a super high short interest. Fubo, Redbox, stocks like this that can move pretty parabolically. So if you do see those bigger moves, then it puts a lot of pressure on hedge funds portfolios very, very quickly, because they're down on their other assets. When their other assets are up, they can just collateralize more assets, more securities. And especially in this marketplace, like collateral, not all collateral is seen the same at different points in time. Like, call it back in June, there was not a risk that the markets were going to be down 3 to 4% the next day, up 2% the next day, then down 5% the next day, and then up 3%, and then down 6%. That's not where the markets were in June. So if you were a hedge fund, or just think about it like this, if you were, let's say you lended out your whole life savings, for a very dramatic example, to somebody that's always going to jail and doing bad shit, they're a very volatile person. So the odds of you losing money are a lot higher, so you're going to want a bigger return out of the money that you're lending out, right? So kind of same thing for the stock markets. When the market's super volatile, people and banks, they say, hey, yeah, Apple's trading at like I don't even know what it's trading at, 140 right now, but you know, we're going to have to discount at least 20% or 10%, whatever the number is, of Apple's, you know, notional share price value, because hey, this thing is volatile and the markets could crash tomorrow and we want to protect ourselves. So not only is it just portfolio values are down, but your collateral is not seen as safe or not as highly valued. That's why you've seen those collateral haircuts, right? Think back, we just seen the last collateral haircut. What was that? After the 2 Fed meetings ago, I believe that was around this time, this market bounce that we've seen, roughly, right? In here, I believe. You know, look what's happened since then. Like, they kind of know. They kind of know these things and how volatile the market is. So, yeah, that's like the long answer. But you going to buy puts on Virtue and Hood because of payment for order flow banned soon? Man, I honestly think it's too late to buy puts on those kind of stocks. Like, that would definitely push. It would definitely push them down, but it's like with puts, you don't have a unlimited gain, right? So you don't have just unlimited amount of money you can make. Like with calls and Redbox, theoretically you could make $100 on a contract, you could make 0, or you could make 10 million, right? Which the stock would have to go absolutely bonkers to do that. And obviously there's the probability aspect of all of that. But if you're shorting Robinhood at, like, I don't even know what the stock's at, like $7, $8, $9, something like that, the max you can make is the value of the stock going to 0. What are the odds that Robinhood's actually going to go to 0 off of that? Not very good. So if the stock's trading at, call it 9, like, it could fall 50%. That would put the stock at $4.50, but like, that's the lowest that thing is going to go. Like, as much as we hate, you know, these stocks, you still got to be realistic, right? There's still cash value to some degree of cash that they hold, and that's a certain degree of valuation support. So it's like the max you could make is like $450 a contract, and it doesn't make sense a lot of the time on a risk to reward basis with stocks that are super cheap to buy puts. That's why, like, even AMC doesn't make sense to buy puts on it, in my opinion. Like, the stock's probably not going to drop under 10. If it does, it's going to be very short-lived. You know, like, this thing's probably not going back to $5 unless the markets really just take a massive shit. Do you think the squeeze will happen in the next 1 to 2 months, TCI? Oh yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. I would be surprised if Redbox didn't even rub off to AMC. You know, that would surprise me. What's up with Redbox? That makes me so bullish. Yeah, Virtue might be a better bet if it's at $24 a share. That's the one that I would personally go after. I'm not sure when Gary Gensler is talking tomorrow. Not exactly sure. 176% short interest. Yeah, Redbox just super shorted. And, I mean, looks good. I hope it's chill, though, in the morning. It's probably not going to be, but I hope it is chill in the morning. Kind of like today. And then we can make our trades, and then we can just let it do its thing the rest of the day. Okay? But it looks pretty good. It does look pretty good. Futures, S&P and the NASDAQ down about 0.17%. Bond yields are up about 0.02%. Back still about 3%. The Japanese yen continues to climb as well, so that's not so good. I thought on a video today on Redbox. Yeah, I seen the title, like 176% short or something. Do you think it will squeeze? I do. Yeah, I think especially with so many people talking about it, it has to, right? It just looks so good to not. I mean, like I don't think you get a more beautiful chart. And technically, we closed at the highest point that we've ever closed on Redbox since, the stock has actually came back to life and the volume is here, right? You've never closed this high. This is a higher close than we've seen where the stock hit $11 intraday. So V-shaped market every day. Yeah. It's always the V-shape. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to be all. Very excited. Very excited for tomorrow. For Redbox, for AMC, for everything else. We might actually make a video on Redbox. Let me see if I can get my Ortex back. Might have to make a new account, but we'll see. We'll see. It should be good. I'll figure it out either way. But yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your night, wherever you're at, and I will see you tomorrow. Get yourself those free stocks. Weeble, Moo, and Public down below as well. It's free money, baby. But yeah, that's it. That's it. Thank you guys. Have a great night.